Have I actually transmigrated? In the antique room, Ning Tian lay on a soft bed filled with a woman's fragrance, his face full of shock. On the soft bed, there were also quietly lying some women's clothes, the faint fragrance making Ning Tian feel somewhat strange. No, this isn't right. What exactly is happening? Ning Tian gulped, puzzled by the woman's room, the soft bed, the clothes, and the pain he felt in his body while lying there. Damn it! Could it be that I've been taken advantage of? A wry smile tugged at Ning Tian's lips as he thought of the absurd possibility. If he was lying here, there could only be one explanation. Clenching his teeth, he seemed to be trying to recollect something, but had no memory of the event. How could I, a fine specimen of a man from Earth, have been so disastrously taken advantage of after transmigrating? It couldn't be some ugly woman, could it? Maybe it was an extremely beautiful woman? At any rate, I'm at a huge loss. Ning Tian sighed, attempting to rise from the bed, but just at that moment, a flood of memories accompanied by severe pain poured into his mind. After a while, he finally figured out what was happening. He had transmigrated to a world called Tianxuan continent, which had a complete cultivation system. Powerful cultivators in this world were able to move mountains and seas, fly through the sky, and achieve the impossible. And his current location was none other than within the demon sect of Dongxing Nation in the Tianling realm. Wait a minute. Suddenly, while sorting out his memories, Ning Tian came across a shocking revelation. I'm a ways? Ning Tian was dumbfounded. His current identity turned out to be a menial servant within the demon sect, and on top of that, he was a genuine good-for-nothing. Damn it! The thought of just ending it all and starting over flashed through Ning Tian's mind. In this magical world, being a good-for-nothing meant it was game over for him. Then, another fragment of memories surged into his mind. Could there be a chance that things could turn around? The leader of the demon sect, the Empress. She's actually my wife? Today is the grand wedding ceremony between me and the Empress. Then the clothes around here, could they actually belong to the Empress? Ning Tian's expression turned weird. Why would the leader of a sect, revered as an empress, want to marry him tonight? Creak. While he dwelled on these thoughts, the door was pushed open, making a slight creaking noise. Following that, a fragrance wafted in, and a graceful figure entered. Adorned in a blue and white long dress, with a phoenix crown on her head, a slender woman approached. Her beautiful eyes seemed as merciless as the Luo River, her facial features exquisitely stunning, breathtakingly beautiful. Seeing her, a trace of astonishment flashed in Ning Tian's eyes. The woman entering was his wife in name, the leader of the demon sect, known as the Empress Luo Wuqing. This woman, she was more beautiful than all the women he had seen on Earth. Even female celebrities would stand no chance against her. At this moment, only one thought crossed Ning Tian's mind. He had struck it rich. You're awake. Luo Wuqing glanced at Ning Tian, lying on the bed with a cold tone, like an ice lotus in a snowfield. Since you are awake, I won't waste words. Before Ning Tian could speak, Luo Wuqing continued. We are only getting married in name. Don't think that it's a real marriage. At most, it can only be considered a nominal couple, so you should not have any improper thoughts about me. If you do harbor such thoughts, I will sense them at any time, and then you can't blame me for being truly unfeeling. Upon hearing this, Ning Tian's eyebrows frowned in displeasure. He had already been miserable enough, but to have a wife bestowed upon him for free, only for it to be a sham? Ding! Just then, a mechanical-like voice echoed in Ning Tian's mind. Ding! Congratulations to the host for activating the shocking system. A system? The still displeased Ning Tian suddenly froze, a look of wild joy appearing on his face. As a transmigrator, he was of course aware of what a system meant. That was something that could help him make a great comeback. With the system in hand, was he still afraid of being worthless? But what's the use of this system? Just after that prompt, it seemed that there was no follow-up. While Ning Tian was studying the system, Luo Wuxing had already noticed his expressions of sorrow and joy. Her eyebrows furrowed slightly. What was this man up to? Are you listening to me? Luo Wuxing spoke up, her voice cold and filled with absolute authority. Hearing the voice by his ear, and still researching his life-changing system, Ning Tian frowned and involuntarily snapped. Shut up. I'm busy. Luo Wuxing was taken aback, surprise flashing in her beautiful eyes. What was her status? A formidable divine emperor-level expert, leader of the demon sect, known as the Empress, who dared to be so rude to her. And what was Ning Tian's status? Merely a menial servant of the demon sect. Yet now, she as the Empress, had been chastised by Ning Tian. At that moment, Luo Wuxing couldn't help but reveal a hint of astonishment. Was this man unafraid of death? As soon as Ning Tian uttered those words, he regretted it a bit. He was still just a nobody with a strength of 0, and Luo Wuxing could crush him with a flick of her hand. Was he too impulsive? Just then, a system prompt sounded in his mind. Congratulations to the host for completing the first shock and reward with a pressure suppression skill. Pressure suppression. Suppress the opponent, unable to use any spiritual energy for 3 hours. A shocking reward? Could it be because I just reprimanded Luo Wuxing? Ning Tian was stunned for a moment, then quickly realized. His eyes lit up, so this was how the system worked. Achieving a certain degree of shock would grant him certain rewards. What did you just say? Luo Wuxing's beautiful eyes landed on Ning Tian, and there was a kind of cold indifference in her gaze that revolved around her. If it had been the previous Ning Tian, he would definitely have backed down, but now that he understood how the system worked, it seemed he knew what to do. Biting his teeth, he mustered his courage. What was the Empress to him? Worst case, he'd just take a risk, from cycling to motorbiking. How come? I'm your husband. Do you have a problem with me talking to you like this? Ning Tian looked at Luo Wuxing indifferently. At that moment, he put on the act. Once again, a hint of astonishment flashed in Luo Wuxing's eyes. How had this man suddenly become so bold? At this moment, however, Ning Tian's mind was filled with a voice. Congratulations to the host for completing a general shock and reward with a vitality pill. Adjust the meridians, repairs the physique. Now that Ning Tian had tasted success, he became even more greedy. He stood up, walked over to Luo Wuxing's side, grabbed her soft hand that was as tender as boneless, and pulled her to sit by the bed. Was this guy getting too carried away? Congratulations to the host for completing an intermediate level shock. The vitality pill has been automatically consumed. The meridians inside the body are being repaired, and the divine level 10-fold cultivation physique has awakened, currently absorbing 10 times more spiritual energy per second. Understanding of martial arts improved 10-fold. Speed of cultivation technique increased 10-fold. At this moment, Ning Tian sensed that his originally weak body was filled with strength, with endless spiritual energy being integrated into his body. Are you courting death? Just then, a cold voice sounded by his ear, filled with a sliver of killing intent. Ning Tian was startled and turned his head subconsciously. He saw that Luo Wuxing was staring at him, the glint of killing intent in her beautiful eyes inadvertently showing. A formidable aura of a divine emperor enveloped Ning Tian in an instant. Feeling that his body was immovable, Ning Tian's face changed drastically. It's over. This time he had overplayed his hand. At this moment, Ning Tian was being suppressed to death on the bed by Luo Wuxing, whose cool hand was on his chest, pressing him down firmly. Feeling the soft and boneless hand, Ning Tian couldn't enjoy it one bit. Tell me, how do you want to die? Luo Wuxing asked indifferently. Was she really going to kill him? Ning Tian gritted his teeth. Regardless of whether Luo Wuxing really intended to kill him or not, he had to fight back now. He murmured in his heart. Activate the atmospheric pressure suppression. Boom! Then, a wave of black aura emerged from his body, and the oppressive aura instantly enveloped Luo Wuxing. At this moment, the spiritual energy in her body completely disappeared and her body softened, toppling towards Ning Tian. What? Astonishment flashed in Luo Wuxing's beautiful eyes. What happened to her divine emperor-level power? Ning Tian caught Luo Wuxing in his arms, clenched his teeth, and his eyes flashed with ruthlessness. No going back. If he backed down now, once the atmospheric pressure suppression time ended, he would definitely be dead without a doubt. It was better to go all out. Anyway, we were together last night, so let's do it one more time today. Today, I'll show you, the Empress, what it means that the sky is high and the earth is wide, but the husband is the greatest. Ning Tian clenched his teeth, and under the astonished gaze of Luo Wuxing, he took the first step in the major event of life.
Three hours later, the room was in slight disarray, and Ning Tian's mind was in turmoil. He sat on the edge of the bed, dazed, replaying everything that had just happened. Had he misunderstood? Yes, he must have misunderstood. A soft rustle from beside him broke his thoughts. Luo Wuxing, her face as cold as moonlight, adjusted the delicate folds of her blue and white gown. Her phoenix crown shimmered as she placed it back atop her head with elegance, as if nothing out of the ordinary had transpired between them. Her expression remained calm, distant, as though the intimacy they had just shared had left no mark on her heart. "Don't forget," she said, her tone frostbound. "Be at the Demon Palace by evening. The wedding ceremony will proceed as planned." With that, she turned to leave, her figure graceful and dignified. Ning Tian could only watch helplessly as she disappeared through the door, leaving behind nothing but the faint fragrance of her presence and his own jumbled thoughts. He glanced back at the bed and noticed the small red stain on the sheets. His heart skipped a beat. An accident had caused him to cross a line he never intended to. He had unwittingly taken her innocence. He let out a bitter laugh, dragging a hand down his face. "Did I just pick up a wife for nothing?" Just then, the system's voice echoed in his mind. "Congratulations, host. A remarkable feat has been achieved. You are awarded 10 years' worth of cultivation experience." Ning Tian's body surged with energy, the spiritual power coursing through him in waves, breaking through barriers he had never thought possible. "Congratulations. You have ascended to the first-level warrior, second-level warrior, third-level warrior, 9-star warrior." The energy overflowed, and his strength surged further. "Congratulations. You've become a 1-star Xuanwu master." The spiritual torrent gradually settled within him, leaving Ning Tian breathless. In the span of moments, he had climbed through realms that took others a lifetime. A new wave of realization struck him. A startling gap lay between him and his soon-to-be wife. Luo Wuxing wasn't just strong, she was in the divine emperor realm, a force almost beyond comprehension. "My God," Ning Tian whispered, rubbing the back of his neck. The enormity of what had just happened sank in, but instead of feeling overwhelmed, a spark of determination ignited within him. "I have to start taking my cultivation seriously." His eyes lit up with newfound resolve. "I, Ning Tian, am not the type of man who lives off a woman." Clenching his fists, he vowed silently. One day, he would stand as her equal. How could he look her in the eyes and declare, "Under heaven and earth, the husband is greatest," if he was weaker than her? He sat cross-legged, channeling the spiritual energy into his core. Energy flowed in and out of him, vast and infinite, as if the universe itself was fueling his growth. Outside the room, Luo Wuxing paused, casting a glance back at the door, her expression unreadable. Her heart was a storm of emotions, though her face remained icy. Just moments earlier, she had almost obliterated the young man inside, instinctively wanting to erase what had happened. But for the sake of the greater good, her sect, her future, she held herself back. The image of Ning Tian calmly sitting in meditation filled her mind. Despite the frustration stirring inside her, there was also a strange, flickering warmth, a warmth she couldn't quite extinguish. With a soft sigh, she turned and continued toward the forbidden area deep within the demon sect's back mountain. As she passed through the sect grounds, disciples lowered their heads in reverence, bowing deeply. Whispers began to ripple through the crowd as soon as she disappeared from sight. "Can you believe the Empress is marrying a nobody? Ning Tian. Isn't he just a low-level servant who's been stuck at the first level for 3 years? Yeah. Aside from being good-looking, he's useless. Why would someone like her want him?" Jealousy and curiosity mixed among the disciples. Many envied him, marrying the Empress, a legendary beauty and powerhouse. But none could understand why she would choose someone like Ning Tian. Deep within the back mountain, Luo Wuxing arrived before an ancient stone gate. She waved her hand, and the gate opened with a groaning rumble, revealing a chamber lit by eerie green ghost fires. At the far end stood a massive statue, its expression shrouded in shadow. Luo Wuqing approached it, her gaze cold yet determined. I've married someone with the divine body constitution. That should meet the requirement to access the demon code, shouldn't it? The statue shimmered briefly with a pulse of black light, but nothing else happened. Luo Wuqing frowned. The demon code, a scripture said to unlock the path to godhood, was the only hope for her to break into the divine realm. Yet the sect's strange tradition demanded that the sect master marry someone with a divine body to unlock its power. After years of searching, she had finally found Ning Tian, a nobody who, against all odds, possessed this rare constitution. Yet he was so weak it was laughable. Her fists clenched at the memory of the looming threat. When the 5 emperors, 3 esteems, and 2 sovereigns invade in half a year. If I can't reach the divine realm, how can I protect the sect? Her voice softened into a murmur. If this so-called divine body can't unlock the demon code, I'll have no choice but to kill him. As dusk descended, only half an hour remained until the wedding ceremony. The demon sect was buzzing with excitement, and distinguished guests from across realms, powerful figures from the Eastern Prosperity Kingdom and Heavenly Spirit Realm, gathered to witness the event. Most were not there to celebrate, but rather to satisfy their curiosity. What kind of man had captured the heart of the cold and untouchable empress? In his room, Ning Tian exhaled slowly, his body brimming with power. The system chimed once more. Congratulations. You have reached the 6-star Xuanwu Master. Tenfold absorption and cultivation had allowed him to leap 5 minor realms in just a few hours. If anyone knew of his rapid progress, they would be speechless with envy. Ning Tian opened his attribute panel, his gaze locking on the unfamiliar words. Physique, divine body constitution. System, what exactly is a divine body constitution? Ning Tian asked aloud. The system responded with an awkward silence. Fine. Ning Tian chuckled helplessly. Guess I'll figure it out myself. He stood and changed into the formal robes prepared by Luo Wuqing. Admiring his reflection in the polished bronze mirror, he grinned. The shabby servant's clothes were gone. Now he looked every bit the part of an honored groom. I suppose I shouldn't keep my wife waiting. He smiled to himself, feeling oddly excited. As Ning Tian made his way toward the grand hall, a thought crossed his mind. Though their marriage had started under strange circumstances, he couldn't shake the feeling that this was only the beginning of something greater. Perhaps beneath her cold exterior, there was more to Luo Wuqing than met the eye, and if he could unlock that side of her, maybe, just maybe, love would bloom between them. With renewed determination, Ning Tian stepped forward into the night, toward his destiny, his cultivation, and perhaps even a future filled with unexpected love.
Sky Demon Hall. The grand hall was resplendent, draped in crimson silk and adorned with festive lanterns. Everywhere, murmurs of conversation flowed, but beneath the celebratory atmosphere, tension simmered. Powerful figures from across the Eastern Prosperity Kingdom and beyond gathered, their curiosity piqued and their hearts heavy with disbelief. At one end of the hall, a young man swirled the wine in his cup, though the bitterness in his heart far outweighed the sweetness of the drink. Lin Xiaoyao, the carefree prince, stared at the joyous decorations, his expression bleak, as if he had just lost something precious. Carefree prince, brooding at a wedding? How unlike you, a hearty voice boomed from nearby. Lin Xiaoyao turned to see the burly beast Fury sect master grinning as he approached, a large wine cup in hand. I suppose even I must attend when the Empress marries, Lin Xiaoyao muttered with a stiff smile. The sect master chuckled. The Empress marrying, and to that waste from Sky Demon sect of all people. What a pity. Lin Xiaoyao's hand tightened around his cup until the delicate porcelain cracked. His smile barely concealed the storm raging within. The Beast Fury sect master's eyes gleamed with mischief. A talentless disciple marrying the Empress. Can you believe it? If I were you, Prince, I wouldn't let it slide so easily. Lin Xiaoyao's lips curled into a pained smile. What choice do I have? The Empress has decided. Yet, as he said those words, a flicker of hope stirred within him, ignited by the other man's provocative words. Was there still a way to stop this madness? The hall grew increasingly packed with guests, sect masters, princes, divine sons, saintesses. Each arrival brought more disbelief and envy. The idea that the revered Empress Luo Wuqing was marrying a man of no status was unthinkable. And now, the moment they had all been waiting for arrived. A red-robed officiant stepped forward, clearing his throat. Ladies and gentlemen, the Empress's wedding ceremony is about to begin. Please welcome, Empress Luo Wuqing. At the announcement, the air in the hall shifted. A wave of overwhelming pressure crashed down, immobilizing even the most powerful figures in attendance. It was the unmistakable aura of a divine emperor. The great hall doors creaked open, and Luo Wuqing appeared, dressed in a flowing red wedding gown, her presence radiant and terrifying. She moved with measured grace, her gaze cold and indifferent, as if she were a celestial being walking among mortals. Awe and fear rippled through the crowd. "She's more beautiful than I imagined," one guest whispered. "But why him?" another murmured. "How could she choose a nobody?" Lin Xiaoyao's heart twisted with bitterness, but as she passed by him, her serene expression broke something inside him. "This isn't right. It can't be right." When she reached the front of the hall, the officiant cleared his throat again. "And now, let us welcome the groom, Ning Tian." The hall fell silent, waiting for this mysterious man to appear. Seconds ticked by, then minutes. Whispers stirred. Is he really going to stand her up? Lin Xiaoyao's lips twitched, hope flickering. Perhaps he fled. Perhaps the wedding can still be stopped. But just as the tension reached its peak, hurried footsteps echoed from outside. The crowd turned as a handsome young man stumbled into the hall, panting slightly. He straightened his clothes awkwardly and grinned at the audience. "First time getting married. Sorry for being late," Ning Tian said casually, scratching the back of his head. The entire hall was thrown into stunned silence. "Is he mad?" someone whispered. "He dared to be late for her wedding?" Lin Xiaoyao's eyes blazed with fury. "You worthless nobody! How dare you show such disrespect to the Empress?" Ning Tian glanced lazily at Lin Xiaoyao and shrugged. "Relax. What matters is that I showed up in time for the wedding night, right?" The guests collectively gasped, their disbelief now turning into outright shock. "The wedding night? Does he not fear death?" Lin Xiaoyao's face turned an ugly shade of red, his fists trembling with rage. You arrogant fool. I challenge you to a duel right here, right now." The hall fell silent once more. Everyone's gaze turned to Luo Wuqing, waiting for her response. Would she allow such a reckless challenge? Ning Tian, however, merely grinned and turned toward Luo Wuqing. "Wife, you don't mind if I skip the duel, right?" The crowd collectively held their breath. Luo Wuqing's expression remained as cool as ever. She gave a slight, indifferent nod. The room erupted into chaos. Lin Xiaoyao's fists clenched even tighter, the veins in his neck bulging. The man he despised had just casually dismissed him, and worse, the Empress allowed it. You're dead," Lin Xiaoyao roared. Ning Tian, however, barely spared him another glance. "Save your energy. I've already won something far more important." He gave Luo Wuqing a wink and added, "Right, my love." Though Luo Wuqing's face remained impassive, a flicker of something unreadable crossed her eyes. Meanwhile, a system notification echoed in Ning Tian's mind. "Ding! You have shocked the carefree prince. You have shocked the Beast Fury sect master. You have shocked the saintess of Heavenly Pond. You have shocked the divine son of the Holy Land of Light. You have shocked the emperor of the Great Xia Kingdom. Congratulations! You have unlocked the Earth-level martial skill, Sky Demon Palm. Mastery achieved." Ning Tian smirked as the system's messages poured in. His eyes gleamed with excitement. Lin Xiaoyao, trembling with rage, stepped forward again. "I'll make you regret this. I swear." But before he could finish, Ning Tian cut him off. "Honestly, you're annoying. This is my wedding, not yours. So how about you sit down, shut up, and—"
"I've heard quite a bit about you, Ning Tian." Lin Xiaoyao folded his arms, his voice louder now. "A waste of 3 years, unfit to stand beside the Empress. I wonder, do you even have the courage to defend her honor? Or is that too much to ask from someone like you?" The insult hung in the air like a challenge waiting to be answered. Ning Tian's eyes narrowed slightly. Inwardly, he was amused. He could already hear the system's voice buzzing in the back of his mind, listing the achievements he was about to unlock. Before anyone could speak, Lin Xiaoyao took a step closer, the sneer on his face deepening. "I propose a duel. A little test, if you will. Let's see if you're truly as useless as everyone says." A murmur swept through the crowd. The idea of Ning Tian, the so-called waste, fighting a prodigy like Lin Xiaoyao was too absurd to take seriously. But Ning Tian's response stunned everyone. "Fine," he said, his voice calm but carrying an edge of steel. "I accept your challenge." The hall fell silent. The guests exchanged bewildered glances. Even the elders looked taken aback. "He accepted. Is he mad?" This fool has no idea what he's doing. Luo Wuqing, from her place on the dais, blinked in surprise. Her lips pressed into a thin line beneath her veil, and for a moment, her cold, calculating expression softened. What game was Ning Tian playing? The atmosphere inside the hall shifted as the duel was set into motion. Lin Xiaoyao's scornful laugh echoed against the high walls. I admire your bravery, Lin Xiaoyao said, his eyes glinting with malice. I'll make this simple for you. I'll seal half my strength, only using the power of a Xuanwu master. It wouldn't be fair otherwise, after all. Another wave of laughter rippled through the crowd. Half his strength. He's being generous. Ning Tian won't last a second. Ignoring the jeers, Ning Tian stood calmly, watching Lin Xiaoyao with a gaze that was both serene and unsettling. There was no fear in his eyes, only quiet determination. Whenever you're ready, Prince, Ning Tian said with a slight bow, his smile unwavering. The audience gasped at the audacity. Lin Xiaoyao's grin faltered for a moment before he straightened and strode to the center of the hall. Come then, let's see what the Empress's groom is made of, Lin Xiaoyao sneered. Ning Tian cracked his knuckles, stepping forward without a hint of hesitation. His posture was casual, his movements fluid and unhurried, as though he were preparing for a leisurely stroll instead of a duel with a prodigy. Lin Xiaoyao scoffed. I'll even let you make the first move. It won't matter in the end. Ning Tian gave a small nod, accepting the offer with a grin. You're too kind. And then, without warning, he struck. The moment Ning Tian's palm shot forward, the air around him shifted. A dark, swirling energy coalesced around his hand, transforming the simple palm strike into something far more terrifying. Lin Xiaoyao's smirk faded as he sensed the immense power radiating from Ning Tian's attack. His instincts screamed at him to lift the seal on his strength, but before he could react, the demonic aura crashed into him like a tidal wave. Boom! The force of the impact sent Lin Xiaoyao flying backward, slamming him into a stone pillar with a deafening crack. Blood sprayed from his mouth as he crumpled to the ground, stunned and disoriented. The hall erupted into chaos. Impossible! That's the Sky Demon palm. How could he know it? The elders of the demon sect shot to their feet, their eyes wide with disbelief. The Sky Demon palm was one of the most difficult techniques to master. Only a handful of people in the sect had ever achieved proficiency in it. The grand wedding ceremony had concluded, and the bustling hall of the Sky Demon sect was now empty. Under the dim glow of lanterns, Ning Tian found himself in the bridal chamber, facing the most challenging encounter of the day, his wedding night with Empress Luo Wuqing. He knew the Empress wasn't the type to let a man touch her easily. Even though they were officially married, the cold beauty's aura screamed unapproachability. But Ning Tian wasn't the type to give up so easily. His thoughts churned. I'm her husband now. If not for the system, I'd have no chance at surviving in this sect. Who knows how much attention she'll pay me after this night. I need to use every resource I have to secure my place in this world. Determined, Ning Tian activated his system. Activate charming physique. A faint shimmer rippled through his body, enhancing his natural allure. His confidence swelled as he gazed at his wife, reclining lazily with an indifferent expression. Wife, Ning Tian called softly, a mischievous smile curling his lips. Luo Wuqing raised an eyebrow, intrigued by his boldness. Yes. Ning Tian leaned closer, his voice low and playful. A single spring night is worth 1,000 pieces of gold. Shouldn't we make the most of it? The Empress's cold, enchanting gaze locked onto him. You might be able to use that little physique of yours to toy with some young girls, but you can't handle me. Her words stung, but Ning Tian refused to back down. As expected of the Empress, he thought. Her heart is unshakable. Before he could respond, she stood gracefully, her every movement elegant yet dangerous. Without a word, she slipped the towel from her nightdress, revealing smooth, flawless skin beneath. Ning Tian's breath hitched, his mind going blank for a moment. She stepped toward him, her cold beauty drawing nearer. Then, with an amused smile, she leaned close to his ear and whispered, "You want it, but you don't dare." Ning Tian swallowed hard. Her proximity was intoxicating, yet her teasing words made his blood boil. He clenched his fists. "Who said I don't dare?" he shot back, his tone both defiant and desperate. Luo Wuqing's lips curled into a faint smirk. "Then who will stop you?" she asked softly. For a moment, Ning Tian felt a surge of confidence. I can't let her look down on me. He straightened, ready to make his move. But before he could act, an invisible pressure crashed down on him, rooting him in place. His limbs refused to respond, as though the air itself had become solid iron shackles. What did you do to me? Ning Tian gasped, panic creeping into his voice. The Empress's smile remained serene. Nothing much, she said lightly. I merely suppressed you with a bit of my aura. She turned and walked back to the bed, her posture as relaxed as if she had swatted a fly. Tonight, she said over her shoulder, you can sleep standing up. Ning Tian gritted his teeth in frustration. Hey, let me go. This isn't fair. If you're so strong, let's fight properly, on the bed, with real swords and guns. Luo Wuqing chuckled, amused by his audacity, but her gaze carried the weight of absolute authority, making it clear she had no intention of indulging him tonight. Damn it, she really isn't going to let me go, Ning Tian thought bitterly. The gap between us is too big. For now, I'll have to endure. But sooner or later, I'll make sure she understands that while the world is vast, and the heavens even more so, her husband is the greatest of all. Just as he resolved himself to wait for the right moment, the system's familiar voice echoed in his mind. System notice, cultivation improvement increased threefold. Ning Tian grinned inwardly. Even if I can't win tonight, I'll make sure that the next time, things will be different. And so, under the silent gaze of the cold Empress, Ning Tian stood frozen, quietly cultivating and biding his time for the day he would turn the tables.